we're going to talk about how do we hold the bow. Well, you're going to put your right hand out, palm facing up. And as we do this, we want to keep in mind that the bow hold should feel as natural and tension-free as possible. But with my left hand, I'm actually going to place the bow, the frog of the bow, facing to the right in the second knuckle of the fingers. So the fingers have, like, you know, the first knuckle here, second knuckle, and then the palm knuckle, the third knuckle. In the second knuckle will rest the stick of the bow with the fingers kind of hanging out over the edges. Then we're going to very naturally curl the fingers in to pull the bow towards the palm. And I'm going to do it enough so that my thumb is going to touch where the frog meets the stick of the bow. You can see there's a little bump where the frog meets the stick right around the grip. And my thumb is going to stay bent and contact the bow right there. So I'm going to now flip it over. I'm going to flip the bow this way so you can see my fingers from the outside. If you practice in front of a mirror, you can check out your own fingers in your bow hold. And the rule of thumb for the fingers is you want them to be comfortably spaced, sort of as if your hand was just hanging naturally. We want to have very small windows in between the fingers. We don't want to spread our hand out too far. And if your hand is too close, you'll lack some stability. So just a natural spread of the fingers will give you just the right spacing. I do want to say something. A lot of people's instinct is to stretch out their first finger and their pinky and, you know, give yourself the widest foundation possible. Although this does give you a totally solid bow hold, it unfortunately lacks any flexibility. And we're going to need a lot of flexibility in our bow hand to make you know, smooth bow changes and a lot of other subtle techniques as we move forward. So I'm going to encourage you strongly not to let your first finger move out towards the tip, but keep everything kind of close together. So I actually feel like my pinky is quite engaged with the frog of the bow. The pinky can actually sit right on what's called the eye of the frog. Your bow should have a little circle in the middle of the frog, and that's pretty much where my pinky will lie. And my third finger lies right here on this metal strip that the bow enters the frog at. And then my second finger actually touches the hair. And you can even see, well, this is a newly rehaired bow, but on my other bow you can see that there's a little bit of dirt on the hair where my second finger touches it. The first finger doesn't touch the hair really as much, but is the one furthest out and will probably be maybe on some metal part of the grip that you have. Every bow grip is different, so don't worry if your fingers aren't lying exactly where mine are. But again, I want you to keep your thumb bent, and that's again so that we have flexibility in the bow hand. If your thumb gets straight, we lose that flexibility. Sometimes your thumb can actually slip through the bow, and obviously that's not going to be very helpful for our bow hold. So really using that indentation where the frog meets the bow stick is going to be the place to keep your thumb stable. If I'm holding the bow in the air, I have to keep my pinky and thumb pretty well engaged to keep the bow from like just dropping like that. But when the bow is on the string, you can actually let the instrument hold the bow up. And I only need, you know, maybe my thumb and my first finger to keep the bow from falling. So the other fingers don't need to be actively engaged when the bow is resting on the string. So let's go through all those steps one more time. We're going to put our palm out, our right palm face up. We're going to put the bow stick into the second crease, and where the frog meets the stick is kind of where my third finger is, right next to the pinky. And I'm going to curl the bow in so my thumb meets that point. Then I'm going to flip it around and put it on the string. You'll notice my bow arm will ideally have kind of a gentle, continuous slope down into the bow. What you don't want is to be holding your arm up like this, or even kind of letting it hang like this. You want a smooth, continuous slope, if at all possible, from the shoulder through the elbow, the wrist, and the hand into the bow. Let's take our handy-dandy bow hold now, and let's pull the bow across the string. We'll put the bow on the A string, which is the string all the way to the left. That's our highest string. And like we talked about before, when I pull the bow to the right, it's going to be a down bow. Don't worry about how long it takes for you to pull the down bow. It could be really quick, or it could take forever. But right now, I just want you to try and do it as relaxed as you can. When you get to the tip, I want you to stay. We're going to stay at the tip without lifting the bow, and we're actually just going to head right back to the frog with an up bow, which goes to the left. And then we're going to freeze at the frog again. So all of our weight of our arm is just kind of sinking into the string. Let's try both a down bow and an up bow one more time. Stay at the tip. Don't lift the bow off the string, and we're going to head right back. Up bow. Very good. At this point, you may be asking yourself, how much of the bow hair should be contacting the string? That's a great question. You can play with what's called flat hair, where all of the bow hair is contacting the string. Also, through the course of playing, I think it's actually pretty common for most people to play with slightly slanted hair, where the hair is turned out towards the ground a little bit, towards the bridge. And that actually means that not all of the bow hair will be contacting the string, as you can see in the close-up. But I'll pull a down bow and an up bow with slightly slanted hair turned out. So now let's try and pull down bows and up bows on each string, okay? So we already did the A. Now let's move to the right one string to the D string. Put the bow on the frog and relax all of your arm weight into the instrument. I don't want you to be holding up like this if you can help it. I want you to drop your shoulder so that we have this smooth, gentle slope all the way into the string. You can even slant your bow hair slightly. I think that actually helps this smooth angle we've been talking about in the bow arm. I'm going to take a down bow and an up bow. Why don't you guys join me? You'll notice that I actually didn't stop in between the down bow and up bow. I tried to have a continuous sound through the change. Let's try that one more time and see if you can achieve it as well. It may take a few times, but honestly both ways are really good to practice, either stopping between the bows or trying to go for a continuous sound. Those are both really important techniques that we'll be using in all of the pieces of music we play. Let's move on to the G string, which is the third string over. And we'll put the bow on the string again. Let's take a deep breath. Let's relax our right shoulder. Let's get our smooth angle going and keep our fingers relaxed. You can even try and, like I'm holding the bow so that I can wiggle my fingers and keep my hand relaxed. I'll pull a down bow and an up bow again. Join me. You'll notice now that we're on what are called the lower strings, the G string and the C string, that the strings are much thicker. And that's how they get a lower sound, even though they're the same length as the A and the D strings. So we'll actually require more arm weight in order to get the thicker string vibrating. So let's try it again and make sure your shoulder is relaxed and all of your arm weight is sinking into the string. We'll do down bow and up bow without stopping. Now we'll finish with the C string. Take the bow, put it on the string. Let's take a deep breath, drop all of our shoulders, and we'll take a down bow and an up bow. Very good. The C string is our thickest string, so you're likely going to have a slower bow on it to enable to engage it to vibrate than you would use for the A and the D string. Let's try it one more time and get all of your arm weight from your relaxed shoulders into the string. You can even bounce on the string a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, Marcus, but I'm sort of letting my arm weight sink in and out of the C string. Because there's tension on it, you know, I can bounce in a little bit, and you'll know your arm weight is sinking into the string if it's a little depressed. So I'm going to pull a down bow and an up bow while thinking about that. Very good. You may have naturally been taking bows all the way to the tip like I was. However, it's not necessary at this point. We'll work on that as we play these first couple of tunes that we're going to learn. But if you only go to, say, the middle of the bow and then back, that can be a little easier. It'll take a little bit more finger strength to play all the way to the tip. In our next video, we'll explore more of what it takes to have a good sound playing the cello and what it means to play with a straight bow.